as I said yesterday, the reason for the 2 straight to the head is really just a large nod to follow through on the range, because there is a lot to go wrong on the headshot.
The Storm Hunter WX weather app is free to download and use and provides you with warning of severe weather even before the National Weather Services issue alerts. This advanced weather app is an important tool for awareness of severe weather that I use every day. Download and use it totally free without in-app purchases on iOS or Android at the link below.
You know, you miss by the tiniest bit, or they move at the wrong moment, bounces off, or misses completely, and you're right back for the follow-up shot. So we're taking 2 shots on the range. They're not going to still be there for the second one in reality if you connect with the first one. I think that there's a lot to talk about actually with application on this one, because it differs from the common custom and practice that's taught throughout the near entirety of the public and private sectors in firearms training, which is to engage high thoracic cavity, center of mass, whatever words that you want to use to call it, but up here, the big part that has more margin of error around it. So it would not surprise me in an unfriendly to guns or self-defense jurisdiction, which obviously this ain't it, but it is where I am, and if there's one thing I've learned from the last 6 years, my locale is coming to your locale, and that's kind of like where it's at. So I would just be ready to articulate why you went straight to the head in terms of objective reasons under the context of the situation, because it wouldn't surprise me in an unfriendly to guns or self-defense jurisdiction as going straight to the head being characterized as an intent to kill as opposed to an intent to stop the threat, or perhaps a malicious intent instead of self-defense. And that's a stretch. We're all like, what the hell? How would this ever happen? But they try to do crazy stuff in court sometimes, and sometimes it gets in. So reasons to go straight to the head. 1, you know or suspect body armor. You can see it, or they have like a skinny guy pinhead and like a real big puffy body with clothes over it, and like the body and the head don't match, and it seems like there is something on them underneath the clothing. If you can see it, that's great. I feel like I've kind of recently broadened my definition of what might be body armor. There are now incredibly amazing body armor products. They have like literally 3A armored hoodies, and I haven't tested them out or anything, and I really wonder about that 3A on the hood part, but that aside, that this is supposed that the body is 3A and it looks like a hoodie is like, whoa. So for me, I think, you know, when I say body armor, I think according to my, locale and time. And so I'm thinking of soft ballistic concealable vests, like we're used to the police wearing, and plate carriers with rifle plates. Like those are the 2 things I think of when I think of body armor. But I think if we get out the history books and look at body armor products from broader than the US and broader than now, like maybe say from the 1940s onward, they look like all kinds of different things. So I've started to conclude that if I see somebody wearing a vest that is not an obvious garment of clothing, like a fleece or soft shell vest or a photographer vest, I'm starting to think maybe I'm just gonna assume that that's body armor and go straight to the head. This next one is completely far afield. I have absolutely no experience with it, but I do have at least one friend who does, and they all agree that if dude is wearing a vest with wires and shit sticking out of it, I ain't shooting the vest, I'm shooting him right here, because dude did not go down to Suicide Vests R Us and buy a quality controlled unit that works as designed. He built a craptastic unit, probably in grandma's basement, and it is highly likely to be unstable and may well detonate from small arms fire, so you shoot them right here instead of this. I will take Kevin's word for it on that one.
Imagine that Tannerite kaboom?
Yeah. Next reason, this is a great one that society will absolutely understand. How about to mitigate shot trajectory issues? So we worked with a lateral displacement yesterday, but you could do a vertical displacement to change shot trajectory too. This isn't going to be part of our drill. We're just going to stand still and draw and shoot straight to the head. But consider that, what if you have not all of you, but like 10 times as many of you all crammed in this direction, like a concert or whatever, some massively densely populated by innocent human bodies who need to not get shot place, and there's one of them that does need to get shot. So first of all, if you engage there, you're definitely endangering those other people, and I would be too, and the best shooter in the world would be too. And that is a really, really easy lesser of two evils or doctrine of competing harms decision in my mind. If there's somebody over here deliberately murdering everybody with a rifle, that going on unopposed is vastly more dangerous than my benevolently intended and skillfully fired pistol rounds, even if I do totally screw up. It's still easy equation in terms of lesser of two evils doctrine of competing harms. but you can make it a lot better. So like if there's one I have to shoot and the rest I don't have to, I'm going to use you as the example because you're the easiest for me to reach, that's all. So if I fire a level shot through here, hit or miss, or hit and pass through, there is a lot of known 0 to 6 foot high in this dense area of human body occupied space that you know is occupied by known human bodies that you did not decide to shoot, which makes them all giant no-shoots. And so there's potential for that bullet to connect with a lot of stuff, potentially. So you could make it a lot better by raising the shot trajectory, go to the head, better yet, change altitude, get lower. Now, all of a sudden, the height of 0 to 6 feet that it's going through is from right here to right here. And then it's going up to I don't know where. I don't know where ain't good, but it's back to lesser of two evils, whole lot better than I do know where, and that's people I know I don't want to shoot. So change the shot trajectory could be part of it as well. And the last one to me just blows it all out of the water, and that's the medical science. If the medical, the medical establishment is very clear and human experience is very clear that, sometimes people crumple down real fast from these shots and other times they do not, and it is not very predictable. And when I start thinking about the medical science of 5+ seconds for these shots to take effect, when I think about the situations that are gonna make me, Gabe White, comes from hippies, wants to produce tech house, that's gonna make me take out my gun and shoot somebody in real life, and they're probably dead as shit, because I'm a good shooter, so if I shoot somebody, they're probably gonna die, almost certainly. That's gonna make me pull out my gun and whack somebody out in real life. When I think about those situations, I have a pretty hard time thinking about situations or imagining situations where I think I got 5 seconds to sit around waiting for those shots to take effect, given the other human performance science of how long it takes people to fire shots, reorient guns, cover distance from point A to point B. I think the human performance science is such that were all the good people of the world, all the police, all the military, all the private citizens, if all of those groups had the technical capability of reliably engaging the central nervous system under all circumstances, I think that would just be standard procedure and that would just be the way that you did it all the time. But back to envelope of capability is why it's a moot point, because we can conjure, it wouldn't matter who we had in here, we could have Dave Savigny in here and we could conjure up a situation where he would conclude, going to the head is not a good marksmanship deal for me in this circumstance, I'm going to the body. So you can't get away from it, and that ain't reality anyway. Like, the masses of shooters of the world are not going to be that good, but when you are going to be that good, it becomes more available, and frankly, I think there's an awful lot of use in going straight to the head to achieve immediate incapacitation, hence the name of the drill. So, a lot to talk about with application there, but that's kind of my take on it. Any questions, comments about that before we go to the technical part?